Yeah. Mama always told me go hard. That's right. Yeah. That's right. Ready? You feel that? Hey, yeah. Ready? Yeah. The lust for the dope money came in 5th grade. Right around the time Mama told me I was special. I'ma get paid. So I started.
All right, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. I am here with Jeff Madzai, Ron
Hello.
Scott Jr., and Ron Scott Sr., my crew, my guys from Undependent Films. I finally got them on the podcast. It took 25, I think. This is going to be the 25th or 26th episode, but I wanted to wait until we got ahead of steam.
Okay.
Yeah, you definitely have that.
I should say so.
So we are just back from WTRF, where they were talking to us about. We have two films that got some attention at the indie gathering in what is it, Jeff? You know the
Hudson,
name
Ohio. It's up south of Cleveland. It's their 22nd year, I believe, of having the film festival. Yeah,
the International Indie Gathering.
International Indie Gathering. Yes.
Did not realize it was international.
Oh yeah, it's international.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, when we were up there, the last time I went with you, I know that there were people up there from all over the world. There was,
Right.
I want to say that there was someone from Poland, and
Australia.
Man.
Yep.
Yeah.
people from LA, people from Chicago for sure, New York, and then just pockets all over the country.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah. The year before when I was there was a kid who had submitted a movie there, and someone from Hollywood actually saw the movie and hired him as a sound guy on his next movie.
Wow.
So
Wow.
you just never know.
Yeah.
It's a great film festival, and
It's the
they
big
do
time, huh?
yeah,
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, of all the ones that we applied for, that was the one that I really wanted us to get something in,
Yeah.
and we got two. So
Got two.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, Need or Greed, getting some love.
Yeah. We got first place crime drama and honorable mention for Opposite but Equal.
Correct.
Fantastic.
Both written by Ron Scott Jr. One directed by me, one directed by Jeff. We're multitasking, multi-talented around here.
Right.
So yeah, I feel like it was nice for me to see us get some double accolades, and
I love it. I remember when we shot it, you guys talking about taking a run at the film festivals. And, it just feels good.
well,
Hey, I am just so happy that I got a chance to be involved in this. I mean, this is amazing,
Yeah.
for someone who's, and I've been involved with Towngate for like 20, 30 years, and I've never felt the excitement that this project in itself has given me, I mean, usually, especially on a rainy day like today, I'd be laid up, curled up in a ball, But I'm like, hey, I got to do this,
Yeah.
I mean, these people are really, and even though Ron is my son, I enjoy the fact that I've been included in this, and I say to myself, wow, this is amazing.
Well, it's funny too. We make these movies for no money, and we make very little from them, maybe enough to cover the cost of the actual movie.
if we're lucky.
If you're lucky,
Yeah.
So it's you hate to admit it, but you really do feel vindicated when you get accepted into a film festival. It seems like it makes it worth it, even though you get a cheesy trophy or a piece of paper certificate or something. But it's like other people get to see it, and it kind of validates what you do.
Yeah, and they like it. And what I love with it, and it's totally different than plays and stuff like that, is when if anyone hears about it again, it's like they want to see it now.
Yeah.
Or even if
And
they
they
saw
can't.
it already. They're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I remember when you guys showed that the first time. I'm like, we won in the film fest. Like, I got to see that. You guys showing it again?
Well, that's why I told Desi
Yes.
to fire up the DVD machine and start making some copies, because I think this is going to regenerate interest. And the nice thing is that they can go back and watch it, because a play, it's finite, and that's what's great about a play. But then
Right.
once it's over, you never. And there's some plays I've heard about from Towngate that I missed it. I wished I could go back and watch. And also, I think unfortunately people don't necessarily relate to a play the way they do film. So
for real.
We're in
I
a
mean,
very,
it's a different generation now, and the new generation, they don't so much go for those live performances as they do for the celluloid. It's a thing of where that they can put that in their little digital thing and take it wherever they want to go
exactly.
and show it, and show it to their buddies and say, hey, look here, and that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Have any of you watched Need or Greed lately?
I have not.
I haven't.
You ought to watch it after a few months have gone by and
Really?
just get it from a fresh perspective. And it's good. It's a good movie.
I'm glad you said that. Yeah, take a few months to watch it. Horrible.
Yeah. Don't waste your time.
There is something to be said about 'cause after the whirlwind of the whole thing to go back in retrospect and watch it. I know when I saw the V Word, which that was played up in Washington.
Yes, it played up in Washington
and
2 years ago.
Okay, and I hadn't seen it in quite a while, and I was like, oh, I forgot how good this film was and how fun it was. And directed and written by the man to my right, Jeff Mazza.
Thank you very much.
Hey, and while we're talking about film festivals, let's get this up there in case anybody doesn't listen to the whole thing. Coming up, we have the $5 15-minute film festival. Jeff's got the T-shirt on.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff organized that, and it's going to be at Towngate, and I'll let you explain it from here.
Okay, sure. July 22nd, 4 o'clock at Towngate. We'll have 16 short movies, 15 minutes or less to watch. We're going to split it up 8, take a break, then watch 8 more. Really good movies. I got 252 entrants from 43 different countries. So it's been pretty amazing.
And you watched every one of them?
The judging and jury committee watched every one of them, James.
Which is you and your family, I think, right?
I will never reveal who is on the committee for their own safety.
Yeah.
It's like a secret society. It's like the Illuminati. You don't know who they are. Just know they exist.
That's an incredible number of films, though, for submission.
It is. And we charged $5 for people to submit. I noticed when I was entering our films in festivals online, the site we use is called Film Freeway. And they list about 5,000, 6,000 film festivals from all over the world. And as I'm scrolling down the screen, if I see one that only costs $5 to enter, I say, well, why not? And I'll spend the $5 to enter it.
Right.
So I figured for mine, being the first year, I'd try $5 to see what happens. And I think if you have $5 in the title, then when people do a word search, then you get maybe more people looking at it that way.
Well, we'd rather get, I think, more films than if we charge $30 to get a sixth of the films.
Right.
We want a lot to choose from.
Exactly. And we've got some real high quality stuff. I'm really proud of the ones that we did get.
That's
so
awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, and
now, is this the first year?
This is the first year. This is it. Yeah,
fantastic.
First year.
All right.
And it'll be held at Towngate, which is great because we love working with them.
Yeah, and Towngate has their new sound system, new projection system, and
good.
I'm dropping. I put the films on 4 different DVDs. I'm dropping them off tomorrow so they can test them, make sure they work on their equipment.
Nice. Yeah, that's a lot of work putting together a film festival. So
I can imagine, man.
Yeah, it was a surprising amount of work. I put a lot of hours into it, so I'm excited for it.
It'd be nice to have it be over, I'm sure.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I mean, the tickets are available online at oionline.com. That's the Ogilvy Institute's website. Or you could call their number, 304-242-7700 to buy tickets. And the tickets are $10.
Good.
So you could see 16 movies for $10. Enjoy a night out with the family.
Where can you do that?
Where can you do that?
Where else?
Yeah.
And I say a night out with the family, but the movies, they're not rated officially, but they're generally in the PG-13, mild R.
Maybe not for young kids.
Maybe not for the youngest of kids, right?
Gotcha.
But I'd feel comfortable taking a 14, 15-year-old there.
If they can sit through 16 movies, they're probably old enough to get.
Yeah, you deserve it.
And there's going to be a nice little intermission, so people want to go down to the restaurants down there at Center Market.
And that is the Italian Festival weekend too, so you would have time to go grab an Italian sandwich or something at the intermission.
Meatball hoagie and come back.
Yeah. And Towngate's been gracious enough to open up their hall for the intermission if you wanted to go out and get a sandwich and then come back and sit inside Towngate and eat it. In the air conditioning, you could do that too.
Right.
Even if you wanted to order a pizza and have it delivered there, they'll let us do that too. So,
Okay,
Towngate has been really good for me for this festival.
Yeah, for us all.
For everything for independent films we've been doing. True.
And I'm glad. I was hoping that with the more that I've been able to get involved with independent and stuff, I was just hoping that the area began to embrace it more.
Yeah.
Because who else is there locally that's making movies?
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's cats that are shooting stuff in their house and all of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I really appreciate unindependent films, because it seems that they are invested in the community itself, you know, just by giving me a chance.
We are. You're part of us, man.
Oh, you're here today. Yeah.
There's rappers that are on soundtracks now, thanks to Undependent Films.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's local rappers. Yeah, I was a soundtrack of a movie.
Exactly, and they're very generously gave us their music and let us use it in the movie and let us sell it on a CD too.
Yeah.
So
there's one cat who will be performing in Center Market on the 21st, the day before the film festival. He was blown away because he came and saw Need to Greed, and he waited. I remember I was on him. I was like, "You got to come see it. You got to come," because it was DJ Youngblood, and his song is prominently featured.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
People
and he
love
said
that
it was
song.
just something. Looking at the movie and hearing his music was blowing him away.
he said he liked the remix.
You know what's funny is I think I saw him after the film, and he was like, "Yeah, okay, cool." I think he must have been stunned.
He said he just sat there like, "Man, this is my music."
I do that too. I sit there and say, "Wow, we did this." You know?
You know?
We should mention that our good friends Don Mew and Brent Clyburn and Keith Wilson from Martin's Ferry, they're the other cats that are making films. They do horror films, straight to hell productions.
Right.
Yeah, and I think there's some other pockets of people doing it, but luckily we're the ones that get all the attention. Maybe because we got Ron Scott involved now.
Oh, no,
that's the key. That is
quality,
the key,
man. Nothing against anybody else who's making films in here. I think you see an independent film and you're like, this is a movie. I'm not watching a couple of guys that have a camera. This is a movie.
It looks so professional. You know, y'all are professionals, you know, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
And I love how there's collaboration as well. Like Straight to Hell folks have no problem working with us.
And vice versa, right?
Yeah, and I love that. So when the idea of collaborating and everything just getting bigger from this point on. Like, there's no reason the film scene in the Valley should take any steps backwards now.
Right, exactly.
In fact, the Straight to Hell guys, they came out on, was it Opposite That Equal that they were here for? Or was it, no, it's the other one.
Yeah, it was the other one.
The
sit down.
They
Right
came
in this very room.
Yeah, in this room. And I should mention that we're in the same building where we filmed Need or Greed. And we filmed
The Sit Down.
In this room. And probably we'll be filming more stuff as long as we can get the building because this is a really cool building. But yeah, those guys came over and brought a truckload of equipment. And I think for the sit down, we had like 5 or 6, 7 cameras. We had a camera in the ceiling pointed at the action the whole time. And then they brought a drone and a cherry picker truck and all this stuff for the filming of
I
Killed
the First Smoke.
Yeah, we love those
collaboration stuff, huh?
And
it's fantastic.
And I said, well, we're going to put you guys right up there at the beginning. Like, you just mention our name at the end. I'm like, no, you guys are a big part of the production. They came up with a lot of ideas. At one point, Brent grabbed the camera and held it in his hand and went running down over the hill in Martin's Ferry by the ballpark and all the way down to the rec center. That's like 150 yards that he ran with the camera to get a shot, and it was just, I still haven't decide if we're going to be able to use it or not.
But that kind of commitment, that's what you need.
I mean, they broke out the drone and they had Steadicam and some other crazy equipment that they brought out. But yeah, collaboration has always been the hallmark of what we do. We all kind of interchange responsibilities. I think me and Jeff have been the directors mostly.
Exclusively
at this point. Yeah, Desi's going to be directing, and you'll be directing in the future. But all three of us write, and Desi's written something that's yet to be put out there yet. But,
probably say who Desi is.
Desi Lacandis. I should know. He's married to my cousin.
Lacandis.
Yes, Desi, who's not here today. He's the 4th member of the group, and he's our cinematographer. And he's really, when you say the films look good. He has a lot to do with that. He knows camera.
He's got a good eye.
He's got a good eye, and he knows how to use the equipment to get certain effects. He'll say, "Do you want this to look more like John Hughes, or do you want it to look like Tarantino? And he can get different lighting effects. And actually, since he's come on board, I don't pay attention to equipment at all because I just rely on him. And Jeff has gotten more and more into equipment. So those guys are more the equipment gurus, which means me and you don't have to.
Right. Now, what I would love to know, I mean, I don't know if this is keeping along with what we're talking about.
Oh, we can talk about
the editing part.
That's Jeff.
That part, man.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like a gift and a curse. Because
yeah, I agree with that.
Because you got to look at everything. But I would love to learn to do that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you said this once, and I don't know if you made the quote, but I know you said it, so I'm attributing to you.
Okay.
Where it's like there's one movie is written, one movie is shot, and another movie is edited.
Yeah,
like these are all different movies.
Yeah, the movie's made 3 times. That's right. Yeah. It is. It's really true. And Jeff has stepped up and been the editor on everything recently. I think everything that we've done.
Everything we have out is I have, yeah.
Now, did you go to school for this, Jeff? Or
No.
is this something that's self-taught? Huh?
Yeah, I was just self-taught.
Yeah.
All
I think it was probably about 4 or 5 years ago. I bought a new computer, and I happened to get a MacBook, and it came with iMovie. And I said, "Oh, this looks interesting." So I started playing around with it, and I said, I think I can make a movie out of this.
Yeah.
So then I happened to meet James, and he said he wanted to make movies, and that's how it started.
That's amazing how we all got together.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Well, it is. When I was doing The Wedding Dilemma, Jeff Goten and I go to the same church, and he had been doing some documentary movies, and one day I'm like, he would be great for the main character in The Wedding Dilemma. So he came on originally as an actor, and
in scare quotes.
no. And as we were making that film, he wrote the V Word, and he asked me what I thought of the script, and I really liked it. And I said, "You're going to play the main character," and you said that you didn't want to act, and so I said, "Well, then direct it." Yeah. And I'm so glad that we went that direction where I don't direct everything. Jeff doesn't direct everything, because I learn a lot watching him direct. We have completely different styles.
Completely,
and he's very organized in a way that I'm not. And so, I think we get to learn a lot from each other.
Definitely.
And then I was helping out at Towngate, doing sound or lights or something for Political Little One, and that's where I met you. And we became friends, and I think early on we started talking about doing stuff. And then I met your dad.
And that's the part of the man. I'm like, how did this guy?
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep a low profile. Anyway, how did this guy? I'm in the hospital. This guy says, "Hey, I'd like to work with you." What is he talking about?
Should I be afraid of this guy?
And it was a year to the day that I think you put a picture on Facebook or something about your hospital stay. So it was during a year after that visit that we started filming.
Yeah.
And,
wow.
And that, as much as we had talked about doing different projects, we were at the end of the year, 2015, and we're sitting around talking about different project ideas, and we really weren't sure which way to go. We had a couple things we were considering, and you had sent the script for Need or Greed, and the guys read it, and I remember you met us up at Panera for a meeting.
Yeah.
In that first meeting, we were just like, yep, we know what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And then when we started talking about the character of the old man, immediately I think we both thought that your father would be perfect for the and you were. I mean, Mr. Scott, you...
Yeah, it worked out for me, too.
Yeah.
Have you guys had anyone stop you on the street and say, "Hey, I saw Need or Greed," or "I know you from..." Yeah.
I went to the post
It is
office,
crazy, isn't it?
To UPS over there by my house, and this lady stopped her, and a couple of her friends stopped, and he said, "Did I see you on television?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, you probably did."
I was out at the movies the other night. I went to see Baby Driver, which was a really good movie.
I heard that was good.
Really good. And as I was walking out of the theater, a guy goes, "Hey, Need or Greed?" And I stopped and I said, were you there? And he said, oh, yeah. You working on anything else now? And
wow.
just
I love that.
Yeah.
Cool. I was at my daughter's karate class. And the dude in there was just looking at me. I was like, hey, how you doing, buddy? And he came over. He's like, I just want to let you know I saw Need a Greed, man. I thought it was great. Like, fantastic, man. Yeah. That was great.
See, as never appearing in the films and only directing, I have the advantage of anonymity as far as that goes.
Yeah. Right. Well, I think the guy saw me at the event.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Must have talked to him then.
Well, and you've been on screen in a couple things
yeah,
too.
True.
You actually were in Need or Greed.
Well, that's true. I was.
Yeah,
I had a little cameo.
Yeah, you played the priest, plus you played guy walking down the street.
That's true. I was in there twice.
And you know, the people at Petropolis, they keep asking me, well, why don't you show the movie here? And I'm like, I mean, I'm not embarrassed about the movie at all, but it would be too strong for me.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because most of them are in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. They could not relate to anything that we was talking about in that movie.
Even if you warned them.
Yeah.
That's
And
the
I
part.
keep telling them that, but they keep asking, well, you sure you don't want to show? I'm like, no.
That's the part I love too, because you know, before this position I have now, I was always primarily working with children and families, and they're always like, "Wait, I heard you did a movie," and they said you wrote it. Oh, we'd love to see it. No, you wouldn't.
I never paid attention to the first line of dialogue in that film until we were watching it in a theater with a big group of people. It's a.
Oh,
and then there's a word that you don't say unless you're in a movie, and I mean it was used colloquially, and so it
was a lot of stuff in that one.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that had never heard you swear before because you don't swear.
Yeah. It was tough. That was very.
And you swore in front of your father.
Yes,
which
was even harder.
Yeah.
I had to smoke.
Yeah, that's right, Jeff. So everybody get into filmmaking and your morals will go.
Cuss and swear and
cuss, smoke,
pick up dirty habits. It's great.
Hey, the things you do for the role.
Right. Well, it is hard to separate the art from the artist sometimes. Yeah. There's always that problem. I mean, like Roman Polanski.
Yeah.
I have a hard time with him morally and what he did in the 60s or whatever, but his movies are great, you know?
Yeah.
So it's hard to separate that, especially then when the person is a good guy in real life and he's writing stuff like you, might not be about good
they
guys.
Always are thinking that, because I like to joke and stuff a lot, so they're always like, oh, I bet you this is going to be hilarious. And it's not.
It was a serious movie,
Yeah, sometimes there's other stuff you want to tap into.
And I think for the most part we've been pretty lucky that people realize that it's art and they've taken it for what it is.
Right.
And when it first came out,
some of the people though, I said that didn't happen for real, did it?
Oh my!
No, it's a movie.
Wow.
The question I get asked is Mook walking down the street with the AK-47. They're like, "How did you guys get away with filming that?" I'm like,
I don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
I would love to know the answer to that too.
For real.
Yeah, I know that. I said, you see any cops or anything happens, just set the guns down and walk away.
Right.
But I think mostly I was too dumb to really worry about it too much. I think Desi was a little bit more worried about it than me.
I think it helped that it was like 6 a.m.
Yeah, that's
on a
true.
Sunday morning.
It was cold outside that day, yeah.
Right.
Well, and I think, like I was saying earlier, I'm not on the screen, but you guys are. And so one of the things I always keep in mind is that people are going to be sitting in a theater watching the actors on screen. Their families are going to be there, their friends and everything. And that's their face on the screen for the length of the film. I have the luxury of sitting in the back, and I can just act like I'm just one of the patrons if I want to. So
unless they don't like it, then it's your fault. It's the director's fault.
That's why to me it's important that the films are as good as possible, because that's other people's faces up on the screen, and that they have to answer to that. And
right, true. That's true.
Last thing I want is an actor that spent time to work on one of my films to sit in the audience and cringe that all their friends are watching them because I didn't do the film justice. And
true.
And that's but there is a thing. I have a lot of sayings when it comes to filmmaking, but one of them is that if a film's good, everybody gets credit because the editor did a good job, the actors did a good job, the writer did a good job, the cinematographer did a good job, and everybody did their part, and it came together to make a good film. But if it sucks, it's all the director's fault because you pick the editor,
Right.
you approve the edit, you approve the actors and the acting, you approve the costumes,
Right,
and
that's
the,
true.
and the locations and the lighting. You approved everything. So, as the director, you're responsible if it sucks, and if it's great, you share the wealth with everybody. And that's not just like a saying; that's really truly how it is.
Right.
Because
I really thought about it like
you
that.
can always say we need a different actor, or we need to do another take, or we need to fix the lighting. All that stuff as you're going along. If you're doing your job as a director, plus you have to have the right vision for where the project's going. And I know sometimes I go overboard, and my vision tends to be a little bit broad and big. And even on this film, I worried on Need or Greed, I worried that with this long third of the film is no dialogue.
Yeah.
And
the first part,
the first third of the film,
first 6-7 minutes has no dialogue. You're right.
Before anybody starts talking, and I worried that I thought that artistically, I still like how that worked out, but I thought that would kill us at the film festivals because people would watch the first 2 minutes and nobody was talking, and they think it's like a music video and shut it off, which I think maybe did happen.
It might have.
Yeah. So
now, when you were setting the direction and stuff up, though, do you visualize what you're gonna plan for them to do, or do you just like by the seat of your pants say, well, okay, y'all go to it?
a little of both.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I do have like when they walked up the stairs, I kind of had that in mind, really they you guys walked all over the hallway, and then you had a lot of interaction in that one conference room where you're playing cards and looking out the windows. So I definitely had to visualize that. But then there's always a thing where the actors and the cinematographer and the other people in the crew tweak that, and sometimes a lot, and do things that I didn't plan. I think Mook walking down the hallway with the AK-47 was something that I didn't even really think of. I think Jeff and Desi maybe came up with that.
I think it was all Desi.
Yeah. And we pulled him on the chair, and we just experimented with different things. Desi did some really cool things during the card playing scene where he went around in a circle, and I wasn't even in the room for that. And so a lot of that stuff was a product of either the actors made a choice that I hadn't thought of, and that's why collaboration is so important.
Yep. You got to be open to it.
Because you can't think of everything. So I always tell anybody that's thinking about directing that you may not know exactly what you want, but know what you don't want. And a lot of times I'll maybe reject an idea pretty quickly just because I know it doesn't fit the tone of the film. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's not a good idea. And I mean, when all possible, I like to try every idea. But yeah, a lot of the stuff that we end up using in the films are things that Desi came up with, or Jeff came up with, or one of you guys came up with, or sometimes it can even be like my brother stopped by when we were editing and he made a suggestion that got into the film.
Yeah.
So I think, I'm not that good, so I need everybody's help.
Oh, yeah.
There's something about that
good,
vision
man.
thing, though, because I remember, I think was that you that saw that something with that clock, the clock that was right by the
when we
the
toured
elevator.
the building, yeah, Jeff did.
And how you guys saw the tables and were like, they
yeah.
look like coffins, and how people get laid out on the end of them. Like, how do you see this stuff? I don't see that at all. Oh.
You guys talk amongst yourself.
Well,
they calling me.
But your writing lends itself to that visualization very well, though. You know,
Yes,
when I
yes,
read
it
what
does.
you've written, I almost instantly can think of places where this could be filmed or something. You know,
and you know, I consider myself a half-assed decent poet, but I've tried to write like short stories, and some of them come out all right. But it just amazed me that the concepts and ideas that you have in your head that you can actually put down on paper, and it has a flow to it, and you can feel it, you know. And I mean, is there some kind of a formula that you use, or no? Or you just sit down and you just start writing?
I like to do like a framework kind of thing. Like I always wanted to, I always know where I want to go, and I never want to take it like the regular route there. So I'm always trying to And if I feel like it's just a straight line, I always try to do something in the writing that makes it curve a little bit or be a little different.
And you usually have the characters as far as the story you're going to tell. You already have them in mind, or do you develop them as the story develops? Or is the story complete when you get it?
No, it's usually, since we all write, so the way I do it is it's always, I usually sit down and I'm thinking, what have I never seen or done like that I'd like to see in like a movie or a show or something like that. And since that's very rare that there's something that you ain't never seen, I'm like, all right, how could I tell this one differently or in a way that I personally have never seen, and just keep pushing it a little bit. Now, my stuff is always local, though. I do think smaller like that. So when I think of it, I'm thinking, how can we do something around here that people might not have ever seen, or in a way folks around here may not have ever really seen?
Now, see, the thing with my poetry, it comes to, like, the first line will come to me, and then the rest of it will rush in, and then that's it. But with you have to develop that story, especially to give it a flow, At least to me, that's the way it seems, and that's amazing to me. I mean, I think it's wonderful, that you can,
thanks, man.
that you can see that.
Do you do a lot of rewriting of your poems, or once you get it out, is that
Basically, no. Once I get it out, that's it.
Okay.
I may go back and like change some of the phrasing of it, but other than that, usually when it comes to me, it's usually complete. And if I stop it and stop writing like that, then usually I'll lose that book.
Okay.
And I mean, it may take a year or two where I'll go back and I'll have that same feeling, and I can go and finish it.
Gotcha.
I mean, I got maybe a couple hundred poems. And I started to get published before. But then after I saw Ron, I said, "What the hell? Hey, I think I'm still an amateur here."
I think it's good to ever compare yourself to. I think your stuff. I've read your stuff.
It's not so much as comparing yourself as is it knowing that. Okay, right now you're not ready for the big time, and I'm not ready for the big time yet. But I'm going to get there.
Because I can remember wanting to write stories with dialogue and all that stuff, all because my father wrote this poem one time about a guy that's in a jail cell, and in the cell next to him is like this. It was like an American Indian guy or something. Yeah. And he does this like chant. He talks about warm your heart with each passing good thought, because there'll be a time when heat can't be bought. Yeah. And the dude does this thing. He does this prayer, and the cell and the bars all melt around him. Wow. And he just walks out. And the dude's kind of left there like, whoa. But the poem set up, he's telling you the story of how this happened to him. So it always made me think of, I've never seen a story like that told, so how can I tell a story that's going to be like that? But the point of the story was teaching you how you have to be good to each other, because the warm thoughts are going to warm you, because there'll be a time when you can't buy heat. You have to be warm from the inside and towards each other. But he did it telling you the story about a guy melting a prison cell. So I was like, you got to tell this story in a way that people like grab it, and it's original.
That sounds pretty big time to me.
I did get published once from the Shores Publishing Company, and I won a contest, and then I went to Vegas, and I got you remember my little poetry statue award, but it kind of it ruined me when I seen the way that the whole process was set up. It was a thing of where the people at the publishing company already knew who was going to win. They had the whole thing set up so that, and it was a thing of where they ended up charging you $50, for your book, and they send you one book.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you're only on one page, and maybe just your poem on that one page, And I'm like, wait a minute, this is a whole scam. And I'm like, man, I ain't doing this no more. I'll write for me. Yeah. And basically, that's what I do now. Like some of my newer stuff that I've written is basically stuff that have come to me, and I'm like, hey, you better write that down, because not only does it have a flow, it's good. Yeah. It's good.
I love your writing. The stuff that you've put on Facebook that I've read and that you've let me read, I think it's great.
You know what? I've been telling myself that I'm going to send you some of my stuff. Some of the older stuff, that when I first really, because I think you'd enjoy it.
I think I would too, for sure. I'd love to read it, yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah, please.
It's cool. What I like in a lot of my pop stuff is he'll give you like perspective stuff. Mm-hmm. Like he's got his. It's gonna turn into my pop's poetry hour. He wrote this one called "Feet" about the march. And it's about a guy, and you never think about a guy who's doing this march. It was the Selma March, right?
Yeah.
Talking about how bad his feet hurt.
Yeah.
Because you don't think that people are doing that and their feet are hurting. I never thought of stuff like that.
That's
and
funny.
they'll always do like these perspectives of people in the story. Like that's a newer one too. The tree one.
Oh,
Dude sitting outside of the tree. It's wild. And the tree's talking to him. Yeah. But the end, they tell him what is this? The tree says something to him. What does he say?
We love your hair. And at that time I used to wear like big afro, long hair and stuff like that. And I'm sitting under this is when it came to me, and I'm sitting under this tree, and I'm like, I wonder what this tree think of my hair.
Jealous?
Yeah. And it says, we love your hair.
That's just wild, man.
And remember the time the cop stopped us running? Oh. Yeah, because and the cop, I mean, he was just messing with us.
Yeah.
But he had to say something about my hair.
Yeah.
And
it's a tree.
That was the only thing that mattered to me. What's wrong with him? I'm talking about my hair. Because it was at that time most people didn't wear long hair.
Okay.
And I don't know. I did for quite a while. Right.
You should see my what was it? My 8th, 9th, and 10th grade school pictures. My hair's like this.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Gotta get a copy of that.
I've got a few pictures where I look like a shaggy dog from that was for many years. I had really long curly hair. Yeah.
I could see
Why
that.
Why'd you cut it?
I wasn't getting enough play with that long hair. I
I thought he was going to say the job, because I had long hair too, like my dad, but I got a job. They made me cut it. It was my job.
I think summertime hit and it was too hot, and I had long hair once and I cut it off and then I grew it back again, and then one day I think I was just looking in the mirror going, what are you doing? I was like probably 26 at the time. I'm like, too old for that.
Wow, 26? Oh, I'd have still done it.
I remember, I'm like, I think I looked better with short hair. Like, what am I doing? And so I cut it off. I mean, at one time I wore earrings in both ears and all that stuff, and ties hip and trendy. And then one day, I saw an accountant with the same thing, and I'm like, yeah, the earring thing's been oversaturated.
Kind of played out.
I'll have to come back to it at some other time. No, writing is probably my favorite part. One of my favorite parts of the process, at least, because that's when you have the most control.
Yeah.
You can see it in
it's
your
all
head.
you.
Me and Jeff have a funny writing story. When we were writing The Static, I remember I'm in my hammock texting him back and forth about a part of the script.
Oh, yeah.
And we had gotten literally off the same page, 3 pages back. So I had the script in my hand and my phone in the other hand. I'm laying on the hammock and we're going back. I'm like, almost cursing him, going, how does he not see what I'm talking about? And he was just as frustrated. So finally, I said, forget it. I picked up the phone and I called him, and then we realized that we diverged 2 or 3 pages earlier, and that's why it wasn't making any sense. And I'm like, oh, but that was an interesting. So for us, I know, for me at least, every script is different. So, The Wedding Dilemma just came up with a simple idea of a weird situation, and then I build a whole story around it. And for me, being one of the first things I ever wrote, trying to figure out what the movie was about.
Right.
Is it about this weird situation, or is it more about a couple that kind of fell out of love, and then through this being thrown into this crazy situation, fell back in love. Some of that got lost in the final edit, and that thing went through 30 rewrites because I overworked it. At one point, it was like up to like 110 pages, and then I think the final shooting script was like 55 or something like that.
I didn't edit that, did I? No, Desi
edited that. And but then when we did the static, me and Jeff sat around his kitchen table for 4 or 5 hours and came up with the story, beginning to end, all the scenes and everything. And then I took it back, I think, and I probably typed out most of it into script form, and then I bounced it to Jeff, and he made a lot of changes, and I think he wrote all the radio dialogue, and that came together pretty quick because Rob Garrison said that he wanted to do a film with us, and we wanted to send him a pretty finished script as soon as possible. So I think in maybe 2 weeks.
I think it was at least or at most 2 weeks.
Yeah, and but then I've had other scripts where I'll be lying in bed and the idea will come to me, and I'll get up in the middle of the night and start hammering it out. And some of those don't develop into anything, and other things did. I Kill for a Smoke, the one we just did. I was driving my brother's truck years ago, probably 5 years ago, and it's a menacing looking truck, and I just thought, like, the idea of someone walking through St. Clairsville being stalked by this truck, and I literally, I think I was going to get a load of stone for the driveway. And on the way out there and the way back, I pretty much figured out the film in my head and went home and wrote it all up. What we actually filmed in the end ended up being in Martin's Ferry, different vehicle and all that. But that basic idea was in my head just as I was driving along.
Have you ever wrote some stuff and when you shared it with other people, it upset them so much that you said, whoa, I better... Like most of my Vietnam veteran stuff, like one of the first ones I wrote was about a guy that got his hands blown off, and he's talking to his mother as he's dying, about his hands being blown off. So I took it to one of the meetings, and I read it at the meeting, and people started crying, and I'm like, "Oh, can't do this no more." It was
good.
Yeah, it just shocked me,
okay.
You
didn't expect
I'm
that
like,
reaction.
I don't want to do that no more.
Right.
I would say that almost everything I've ever had people read, I was always surprised by the reaction. And there's a couple of short things that I wrote, and everybody, I kind of was enthusiastic about them. People were like, they're okay. But then other ones, I know the first time we read The Wedding Dilemma, we did a table read up at Panera. That's the first time I ever had a group of people read out loud, and I was pleasantly surprised when people laughed. And Rob Garrison liked the static from the start, so that was good. I did a script with Kyle Cunningham, Will Wallace, Ryan Daig, Eddie Berardi, and Robbie Kedwell. I want to mention their names. Called Coleraine. That's in flux right now, and I know at the time that we did the table read, people still come with me and say that they really like that, and I'm still, I don't know what to think about it. I pitched the idea to somebody a couple weeks ago over dinner. She really liked it, and she liked the story. She didn't get a chance to read the script yet, but so I don't always know what to think about the stuff that I write.
I've had people come up and ask me about Coleraine after seeing the preview for it at Need or Greed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's what I do too. As I overthink it, and I shouldn't, and instead of just writing it down and letting it flow the way it is, I don't know if, I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings with this. I don't want to,
it's not worth
offend
it.
anybody with this. And then sometimes I say, fuck it.
Right.
If they can't take a joke, it's on
That's
them.
right. I would say, in general, I'm never quite satisfied with anything that I do. With the films, I'm very proud of them because I know of all the work that went into them. And when I look at them, I love the acting, I love the lighting, I love the sound, I love the
finished product is wonderful, ain't it?
I love the edit, but I just see all the mistakes that I personally made. And that's
definitely.
I like with Need or Greed, I always feel like, man, everybody did a great job but me. That's just, I feel like I did okay.
Like Kojak.
Kojak.
Kojak
It's
He's hard on himself.
I only noticed the mistakes after. Well, now I haven't watched Need or Greed for a while, so probably when maybe I'll be a little bit easier on myself when I go back and watch it. But I think
it's a wonderful film, man. Yeah, I mean, you did an excellent job.
Everybody did. That's
but it was you guys made it a movie though.
Yeah,
because I remember. You know, because I always thought plays. That's what I always. That's all I've ever thought. And just from the tone from when we first got here, I was like, "This is a movie. We're making a movie."
Yeah.
And me and Kojak would every now and again just text each other. We made a movie.
I will say,
I was like, this is a movie, man. And we would show those little. I remember. I don't think I've ever. Well, because with your children, you know when they're coming, and you're like, all right, I can't wait to see the guy. But just before, when you guys said, we got a version we want to show, I just remember being so excited. I just couldn't, I could not wait to get home. I was like, you guys all need to come over to the house. We get some food. We got to watch this.
We did. We had a bunch of food, and we sat around your
rec room. It was amazing, man.
That was pretty much the final version, too. There were a few changes.
Yeah,
but they were
and it was like, this is, we saw the beginning. I was blown away.
Well, I will say that the one thing I am really happy about is that it did come out more as a movie than a TV show. I didn't want it to come out as a Hallmark Channel thing or as a NYPD Blue or Law and Order type TV show quality. I wanted it to have a lot of cinematic elements, which Desi and Jeff and Ryan and everybody really brought. The acting was a high caliber. Well, and the thing that I pointed out to Corey when he said that he was a little insecure about his acting was that if you look back on that whole process, never once did I say anything about the acting because it was every time it was on. Every time it was spot on. We talked about camera angles and lighting and
too much about lighting.
Probably too much about lighting. Yeah, we spent in the conference room. We lit for about an hour, and then it wasn't what I had in mind. So Desi took an hour and a half, I think, to relight it, and we spent a lot of time.
That's one of my favorite parts about that scene, though.
How it's lit.
It was worth it,
man.
And I'm really proud of us that we took the time to spend 2.5 hours out of the 3 days of shooting to get the lighting right, and
people watch that and have no idea where that is.
Is that right?
Just gone. Like I don't know. Like that
cool.
was here. Like,
Well, that
last
reminds
scene
me of walking into WTRF today. I expected it to look like it did in the Static.
Oh, that's right.
Because in the Static we used
TSG.
Someone walking into the WTRF building, but once they were inside, they were in another place. So that other place is what I expected to see when I walked inside TRF.
Right, that's right.
It was weird.
I love that.
Because I didn't. I was a little thrown off when I walked in there too. I didn't realize why.
There's supposed to be a counter here.
But that the cinematic look that we got from it was maybe my favorite thing about it. Oh, I know what I say. I'm sorry. Bad podcaster. The fact that from the go, and listen, everybody, Corey wasn't that good at the table read. Corey knows this, so we're gonna tease him a little bit. But we set up a Panera, and I had a long conversation with Jeff and Desi about, what are we going to tell Ron? This is his best friend. I don't think he's going to make it, but he stepped it up, and in the end, he was on par with the rest of the guys.
Was great.
And literally, I gave no direction about acting. I don't think you guys even really talked about it much either. And there's a couple things. And there's still a thing that gets me every time when Corey says, "So I bet you hug your shooters." And he has this smug smirk on his face. And that's that. I'm like, this kid can act.
He can.
Favorite parts of the movie. And
well, that is. I'm sorry.
He got that energy level up there. And so for me to not have to worry about the acting, it was so good that I didn't even think about the fact that I didn't have to worry about it. We just do another take, and it was all cameras, and even the camera stuff was just about me wanting to get it from a bunch of different angles. Jeff edited it. He knows how much good footage.
Well, I had a hard time editing that. There was so much. I remember I took a day off work, came down to your house, and we edited together for like 12 and a half hours.
Yeah. And that was after the film was basically done.
Yeah.
It was
in a completed.
We could have showed it the way it was, and we spent 12 hours tweaking it and just fixing little things and moving it around.
Yeah.
Wow. That worked out good though with
did.
Jeff sitting there at the controls and I'm pacing back and forth in my garage. One of the hard things about editing is you get a thought in your head of how you want things to go, and then mechanically or physically you have to go in the computer and do it, and so you're switching back and forth. And where's that piece of footage at? And
that's what helped me. You knew where the things were. You'd say, "Didn't we have a piece that showed this happening or something?" I said, "I don't remember." And then you'd say, "Oh, it was right around when we did this." And I said, "Oh, okay, I remember where that is. I could go find it and put it in there then."
So we didn't have the footage organized very well either. Thanks, Desi. But it worked out in the end, and we even experimented around a little bit with overdubbing on the audio and.
We used some of that.
Yeah. There's some part we had to repeat with me going, "Oh, over here, over here." And my cars got in it. Well, what eventually being Jeff's car.
Oh, yeah, it was my car. Yeah, right.
I bought the car.
Both of the cars were yours then.
Yeah.
At some point or another.
Yeah, well, at the time of showing the movie, I'm like, both my cars are in the film. I don't have to be in the film. My car's be in the film. I can get the bikes in now.
Well, talking about Corey's acting, as far as the Indie Gathering Festival goes, they haven't announced those nominations yet for actors and director and all that kind of stuff. So that's still coming up. So there's still a good chance he could get.
He did, and I think he really. I think it'd be good for him to know that people outside of us think they did a good job because he.
And we've used him since then. Yeah, so like we. In fact,
but he's so hard on himself. He's just like, if I could have just done it again. But if you keep that mindset, you would be doing it still today.
Yeah,
you would. You have to.
Yeah.
Then he was even harder on himself for Opposite But Equal.
Listen, if Opposite gets recognized for anything, Corey's gonna be like, "There's no way they saw my part in it. They can't have saw me because if they saw my part."
Well, it's already been in 2.
Right? Yeah. And I think he did great in that too.
Yeah. Well, and I even told him that day. I said, he didn't quite remember the lines, and he was a little chaotic. I said, "You're kind of a mess today, but between action and cut, you're on fire.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, and that's all that matters because that's all
he
that's
was
on
sick.
Film. Yeah, he was sick.
It was raining.
Well, and then when we were doing I'd Kill for a Smoke, his job was to run through Martin's Ferry, and he felt like he was going to puke the whole morning.
Right.
We thought we were going to have
He was running a lot.
This guy's a soldier. That's why I feel like he needs something. If anybody is nominated for anyone watching this, just or listening to this, nominate Corey Jackson for something so we can keep him as a part of Undependent.
Well, and I'd Kill for a Smoke, there's no dialogue, which you would think would be easy, but it's really not.
Yeah.
He had to get the facial expressions, and even
when
all you're doing is walking for part of the film, the way you walk even is important. When you take away everything else, and the less that you have to do, the more people are paying attention to what it is that you do. So if he's just walking by the camera, and he's doing that for several minutes of the film, or at least during different parts, that and running, and people are watching how you walk and how you run, and the expression on your face takes on a lot more meaning when you're not speaking. And I thought he was fabulous in that film, and I don't think he realizes how well he did. And again, very little direction when we got to the part where there's a scene with him and Mariah that there's a lot of physical stuff going on, still no talking. He nailed it every time, and exactly the way I'd envisioned it, without me really having to tell him much. And
when are we going to get to see this?
Never. I originally loved editing, and I still enjoy it when I take the time to do it.
It's hard. It's hard to just sit down and do it.
It's such a long process,
and it's daunting when you see all that footage staring at you.
And
it's hard.
I think most people don't realize that. I know I didn't realize. I thought you went in and you shot the movie, and that was it.
Yeah.
You may have to move something here and move something there, but I never thought that.
I bet there's 3 to 4 hours per minute.
Yeah.
Of editing.
Yeah. And hey, I'd Kill for a Smoke, no dialogue. It's going to be easy. We don't have to record any sound on the set. It's going to be great. It's going to be all music and sound effects. And now I'm like, man, I got probably 3/4 of it edited as far as visually, but now we got to go back in and record
sound,
engine sounds and footstep sounds and breathing sounds, and then it's all got to be mixed so that it sounds natural. And it's kind of a movie where not a lot happens. So to get the audience to buy into it and to stay involved, it's going to rely on heart-pounding music and all these other things. Because when I watched the edit that I have now, I'm like, the footage was beautiful. It came together exactly how I wanted, and it has no feel.
Really?
That's because there's no audio. The audio is going to be everything to creating the feel. And I think that's the part that I'm dreading, and I'll probably be dragging Jeff in on that.
I'm looking forward to that. I kind of like the idea of going out in the field and saying, hey, we need to get some footsteps. We need to get some gravel spinning.
We got this great recorder, so I think it's just a matter of finding the time and getting the gumption by myself, and because you're always game for doing stuff. Well, and speaking of sound and music and that, the big part that it plays, I think in the static, when we added the music of the Howard Report, which is a string quartet that they graciously let us use the music, it just fits so perfectly.
Right.
And that's a really kind of I guess a dark comedy maybe. A lot of sad tones to it, uplifting at the end. And that music and the music by Gordon Elliott and Ryan's band,
Old Northern. I think that the music took it to the next level. Rob was great, Mariah was great, everybody in the film was great, but the music was one of those things that really showed me how important that was. Well, the same as Need or Greed. That the way Jeff put together that song. That we watched that over and over again at your house. That first part, it's almost like a music video.
I mean, it fits so well, and the way you used the song whenever the Cadillac showed up. You knew it was almost like it was the old man's theme. You heard that music.
I thought of it. That's what I thought of it as in my head as I was doing it. Is the old man's theme.
That was great. Every time you heard that music, it
was like a callback.
That was fantastic.
And I'm very proud that we've. Well, I mean, licensing wise, we can't really use national artists, but that's good because we have a lot of talented local artists and.
That'll give you that same flow.
And want to be involved. It helps.
They've all. I mean, so many people have graciously given me a CD. I'm like, can I use this in the movie? And they're like, hell yeah, which is good because it's a mutually beneficial situation for us to.
You get to see their name in the credits, and
they get to hear that.
And then
if they buy a copy,
someone in here and say, "Who is that?" And that's what most, at least the artists that I know, that's what they're looking for. Is someone say, "Hey, I heard your stuff on this movie. Is that you?"
Well, in a larger sense, I think what Undependent Films has come to be to me now that we've done it for a few years, and I realize that probably not going to get discovered and end up in Hollywood. And that's okay. You never know.
And you know what else is okay? Not getting paid. And to me, it makes me feel even a lot better. Because I say, this was something that I'd done from my heart. It wasn't something where I was trying to win a prize or I was trying to make some money or something like that. But this is something that's from my heart. This is who I am. This is what I'm about, and not having to worry about any financial reward on it. You do it, and it's done.
Right.
And you say to yourself, damn, that was good.
I know. Right. If you had told me 30 years ago that one day I'd be sitting in an audience watching a movie I'd made.
Wow. And I almost actually, if money ever did come, that I would worry that it would complicate things or mess things up.
And it would.
It would. We'll take it, though. I mean,
take that chance.
But for me, Sue Beth Warren, when we were doing the static, really changed my way of thinking back then. We were filming up at TSG. She was playing Rob's
the newspaper
editor, and we did 3 or 4 takes. And I said, Sue Beth, I know it's a Saturday. Would you indulge me in? I'd like to get a couple more takes, try it a couple different ways. And she said that was the first film she'd ever been in, and she didn't know if she'd ever be in one again, and that she was having a blast. And take as many as she wants. She'd stay as long as we wanted to. She didn't want it to end.
Right.
I was like, oh, these people aren't just up here helping me make my movie.
Right.
They're doing something that they enjoy as well.
Yeah.
And so I'm starting to look at us more and more like the Towngate of film, where we provide people with an opportunity to act in film and to write and direct and be involved in the crew, and really for me, providing the opportunity for people to be involved in making a film. I think that's what Undependent Films brings to the Ohio Valley. That's unique and special. We work with our friends a lot, but we've always been open to new people coming aboard. And I know I've talked to a lot of people out there, if you're listening to this, about being involved in the films, and we haven't had a chance to use you that yet. And that's because making a film is a very complicated process. And we spent most of last year just making Need or Greed and Things That Go Thump. And
you know, one thing though, now if Spike Lee come and ask me to do something, I'm gonna have to charge him some money.
Well, Spike Lee.
You know, it's Shoe James, I'm cool. Right.
You just want that out there, okay? I get it.
Spike, if you're listening, this year we're hoping to open it up more. It's Jeff's doing a project called Pancakes, and I want him to elaborate on that in a minute. And me and Ron are working on the next Ron Scott script that he wrote called The Sticks. Both of these are feature-length films. Desi is working on a Ron Scott script called
The Watchers.
The Watchers.
Yeah.
And I think eventually Ron will be directing.
I hope so.
I'd love to.
I think Corey had mentioned something about maybe getting involved in writing, and
that'd be awesome too.
And I think you said something just now about wanting to edit, and I think that's a good skill to have.
Oh, I'd love to learn how to do that.
And so I like that there isn't just one director and one editor, and that you even bowed out of, I think, a part in The Sticks. I think you maybe end up having to be in it because people dropped out. But I said, aren't you going to be in this film? Because this is going to be a big production. Right. And you said that you want to give somebody else a chance.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's great, but I think that we need you.
I'll jump in there.
I think that it's such a powerful film that we'd be remiss if we didn't have a character in there with you.
I'll figure it out.
I think we got a character for Jeff too. Do we?
Priest.
Oh, yeah. The priest is Coleraine.
We got a character.
We do?
We got somebody.
Yeah. The priest doesn't make an appearance in Sticks.
In The Sticks, huh?
Yeah, that was Coleraine that we
I know Coleraine did, but I thought he was going to be in Sticks too. But okay.
We can get him. We get him in there. We'll get him in there.
Well, yeah. And the other thing in Coleraine, I think at one point we had Most and Lou
at the convenience store
at the gas station.
Oh, yeah, right.
And of course, the old man kind of makes a reprise in The Sticks.
Yeah,
right? It's kind of the same character.
It's like they live in the same world.
Yeah. So it'll be good to work with Mr. Scott Sr. again on the project.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. It's going to be back of a limo. But yeah, it's. I think for us to have that opportunity to work with all these great people and to give the opportunity of people to be in a film, it's a very relatable art form. Most people watch TV, go to the movies, watch movies, and I think it's sometime or another everybody's thought about being an actor, or I know a lot of people have thought about an idea for a TV show or movie because they come up and tell them to me all the time, which I love hearing them. So I think we're working with Nicole now, Nicole Fields, and she's so excited to act. It's her dream.
Oh, man.
And
she'll kill it, too.
She's killing it in the rehearsals, and I feel bad that it's because I think I originally had her to come on board for Sassy Assassins, and that's still in the works. Right. But she's been wanting to act for a long time, so it's great to give her that opportunity to act, and then also for her to have a great actor in one of our films.
Yeah.
And that actually, Sassy Assassin reminds me of the script writing process where all I had to begin with was the title, and then built the movie around it. And it's been through a couple different generations, but I actually worked on it a little bit this week, and I probably got 10 or 15 stories that I wrote that may someday turn into a script. Of course, there's the Coleraine script and probably another 5 or 6 scripts that are not ready for prime time. Right. But I like directing Ron scripts because they're really good and by the time I start to think about it visually, the script's already done. So if I spend all the energy writing the script, by the time we go to film it, I'm almost exhausted with it. So I come to it really fresh. And you're starting to. We were talking before the podcast. You've got ideas for the sticks.
Yeah,
you're seeing it visually now, so you're not seeing it like a play.
I'm trying. Yeah. But there's two. I haven't talked to you guys about any of this stuff. I have two more that just came out of nowhere that are kind of. One is related to Sassy Assassins.
Nice.
It's odd.
Like a side character?
Yeah, there's a section in there where the police chief is running through all these villain names.
Right.
And for some reason, one just stuck out to me. This as a villain whose name was a normal name, because they all had villainy names. Yeah. And one was Jesse Armstrong. So I wrote this thing about
Jesse Armstrong,
this villain, and it really is something. It's turning into, because I didn't have any plan when I started to write it, and it's turning into a guy that has an issue with the way crime is. He's an old school criminal, so he's like the idea that now there are people with abilities and powers, and there's no honor among thieves, and there's no technique and skill to this. If I can punch a hole through a wall, I'm not really a skilled criminal. So he gets hired by this syndicate, the big crime syndicate, to get the information from this guy. There's a guy who stole money from them, and you don't do that.
Yeah.
So Jesse's an old school guy. To get Jesse to come in, you're going to get this guy to tell us where this money is and how he did it. And you find out that the guy, he didn't have a crew, a plan. It just kind of fell in his lap that this whole thing works out. And the twist of it all is Jesse, who hates these people with these abilities and powers and all this sort of stuff, finds out that the guy he's interrogating has this strange ability and power to always be at the right place at the right time, because he only needs $20,175 in order to get the plumbing situation in his home fixed so his children can move back in. Yeah. He happens to be at the right place. $20,000 falls in his lap. The syndicate thinks he stole it. So Jesse Armstrong, he just doesn't believe this story. He's like a bunch of crap, because he's like, I got this money, but I was short. I was short. And he's like, well, you're going to die because you were short on money. So matter of fact, here's all the money I got. And he throws this money at him. It lands in his lap, and he looks. And with that and the money that he stole, he has the exact amount. So he decides, I'm in now. I'm back. I'm back thanks to this guy. He's now my sidekick. He nicknames him Clover, and they do crime together. Because if he keeps him close to him, nothing's going to go wrong, because this dude is always at the right place at the right time. I know. It's nuts. And it just came out of nowhere.
That's the way I like them.
Yeah.
When they come like
they
that.
come out of nowhere like that.
Yeah.
That's
Jesse
a great
Armstrong.
story.
Yeah.
Where does that even come from? Yeah.
Well, that's funny, because you came up with a great story kind of out of nowhere, and I've been struggling with the proper way to get the sassy assassin thing, and it's eluding me. And it'll come to me, or it won't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It will.
Maybe we can make Jesse a woman and I'll just steal your script.
That's fine.
It's an interesting process for sure. The whole thing, and it's fun.
Well, I'm gonna have to be getting out of here. So
yeah. And
shoot, as do I.
Yeah. What time is it?
4:45.
4:44.
Well, I think that's a good place to wrap it up.
I agree.
It's great to finally have you guys on the podcast, and
thanks for having us.
Yes.
As always, Desi and Corey let us down.
Yeah, as always. Sorry, Des.
Yeah, they're probably off themselves somewhere insulting each other.
Yeah, I was actually looking forward to them being here so we could make fun of them, because that's usually what happens. Is Desi and Corey are the ones that get picked on the most.
And you give Kojak a mic, man. It's going to be a fun time.
You missed out on some of the more lively Independent Films banner.
Well, the last two messages, one from Desi says, "Not making it." Sad face. Corey says, "No one wanted you there anyway."
And literally, we had to start a group page on Facebook to keep information straight because our chats would get really long of us just teasing each other. And at one point, Desi had a meme of Jeff saying something from the wedding band, and we posted it over and over and over again. And
very funny.
Yeah, that's what it was. and it literally, it'll be 30 different comments back and forth where we totally get off track, and I'm like, what date were we supposed to do that? I'm scrolling back up.
You gotta find it.
Well, guys, thanks for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
On behalf of the Undependent Films crew, Jeff Madzai, Ron Scott Sr., Ron Scott Jr., and myself, we thank you for not just listening to this podcast, but for supporting everything we've done, from costumes, locations. People have offered to make food. Your mom cooked for us. And your wife has cooked for us. And your mom has cooked for us. Everybody's mom's cooked for us. And the community's supported us way more than I would have ever expected. So we appreciate everything, and I appreciate you all for supporting the podcast as well. And I think until the next time, see ya.
All right. Thanks.
Yo. Hey, Kels. Bro. They ain't ready. Had a lot of shit change, I don't fuck with nobody. A lot of shit change, now that rapping ain't a hobby. Had a lot of shit change, everybody won't rob me. All that shit changed, but it still won't stop me. Had a lot of shit change, I don't fuck with nobody. A lot of shit changed, now that rapping ain't a hobby. Had a lot of shit change, everybody won't rob me. All that shit changed, but it still won't stop me. But it still won't stop me.
I don't fuck with nobody.
I don't fuck with nobody.
I don't fuck with nobody.
But it still won't stop me.
I don't fuck with nobody.
I don't fuck with nobody.
I don't fuck with nobody.
I don't fuck with
Okay, it's time for them to see this energy that I've been saving up. I straightened up my life for this, some spiteful shit I'm baking up. So crank it up for those of them who never ever gave a fuck. Banking up the spread, I bet they saying that I'm changing up. Making up rumors how we up and we coming. I want to shout out to the shout outs from them homies that love it. If it's possible to fly, I guarantee that I'm gonna. The only thing that's on my mind is money and marijuana. If shit change, I mean, how can they blame me? Maybe if shit was still the same, niggas wouldn't be lazy. Crazy how niggas hear the names and they so quickly can say we may be the best out here lately. No wonder them niggas hate me. It's
Had a lot of shit change, I don't fuck with nobody. A lot of shit change, now that rapping ain't a hobby. Had a lot of shit change, everybody won't rob me. All that shit changed, but it still won't stop me. But it still won't stop me.
I don't fuck with nobody.
I don't fuck with nobody.
I don't fuck with nobody.
But it still won't stop me.
I don't fuck with nobody.
I don't fuck with nobody.
I don't fuck with nobody.
Had a lot of shit change, I don't fuck with nobody. Pop pills for the pain, now I got a sober body. Music grind for the fame, came a long way from a hobby. Couldn't get strange, now a bad bitch riding shoddy. I've been getting to the bucks cause I wasn't born with it. Came a long way from opening car door hinges just to take your riches. I was hardcore with it. If a cop chased hot gates, I was parkour with it. Had a lot of people try to cross me on some Jesus shit. So trusting a few disciples is the way that I'm seeing shit. Earn my stripes on some zebra shit. Now my paper legal, bitch. You hating Caitlyn Jenner deep and Knicks can eat a dick. Hating is what they be on. Put it in your girl mouth, her head shaped like a safety cone. She deflate my balls, I'm Tom Brady's clone. Never needed a soul, I could stay alone.
Had a lot of shit change, I don't fuck with nobody. A lot of shit change, now that rapping ain't a hobby. Had a lot of shit change, everybody won't rob me. All that shit changed, but it still won't stop me. But it still won't stop me.
I don't fuck with nobody.
I don't fuck with nobody.
I don't fuck with nobody.
But it still won't stop me.
I don't fuck with nobody.
I don't fuck with nobody.
I don't fuck with nobody.
Look, I had a lot of shit change like Obama. Oh, now they sick, cause they know I'm about to blow like Osama. They biting swag like piranhas, I'm getting hot like a sauna. I was fucking with a thought, but now I got a Rihanna. I want the green like iguana, I'm trying to eat like a llama. Put that ganja in the bone, cause I ain't with all the drama. I tell my haters they nada, fuck that Gucci and Prada. Stick to Nike, cause it's simple, I just do what I wanna. I'ma rap till I'm under, it's not a thing as you see. I am that motherfucker that they've been wanting to be. I got my name from a G, I'll let the fame come to me. And fuck them lanes, I'll never change, I remain what you see. Nice.